mark for the first time, shining the light on Treasury mandarins and renewing the protracted debate on whether the country's ability to carry the load in the long term. Official statistics now show that the latest acceleration in the debt pile up was mainly from external borrowing, which pushed a total outstanding foreign debt to 2.5 trillion shillings as at the end of February. Domestic debt, which is more current, having included last month's data, now stands at 2.4 trillion shillings, marking a total of 5.01 trillion shillings. These are CS Treasury insist that the debt is manageable. And Gladys Mungai now reports. As the CS Treasury, Henry Rotich presents a 3.7 trillion shillings budget for the financial year 2018-2019, Kenya risks losing investors and its economic gains if the government does not contain the runaway debt burden. The steep rise in debt means a looming increase in the debt servicing obligations.
Even in the next 5 years, it will approach 10 trillion. That should not worry you. It should be the size of that debt relative to the economy. Because, you know, at independence, maybe we had law that even 10 years ago, we had a level of debt, but it grows. In fact, if you look at the growth of our debt over the last 5 years and compare with all other countries in Africa, our debt growth has been lower than other countries.
At an outstanding 4.8 trillion shillings, Kenya's public debt is an anonymous ticking time bomb whose possible explosion has left the Treasury officials constantly at the edge.
Deficit to 5.7 progressively and bring it down to 3% over the medium term. If, of course, we get the balanced budget, that will be good. We will not borrow any single cent. But the deficit of 5.7 is a marked improvement from a deficit of over 8.5 over the last 2 years.
The International Monetary Fund's officials on Thursday told the parliamentary committee that the government excessive borrowing amid huge revenue deficit for the country is worrying. The International Monetary Fund, a lender of last resort, has already placed Kenya on its distress watch list, giving the Treasury 6 months to put the country finances in order or deny it 1.5 billion shillings, an equivalent of 151 billion shillings standby credit facility, which would not only reduce the country's buffer against external shocks, but also chip away the country's credit worthiness.
With also a ratio of other revenues that we have. So it's not only we are looking at the economy, but also sort of because we have to service this debt. And by servicing that, we also need to know that how much are we using our revenues to pay the debt service.
Kenya recorded a government debt equivalent to 57% of the country's gross domestic product in 2017. In 2016, the public debt was at $37 million, an increase of $4,000 million since 2015. This amount means that the debt in 2016 reached 53% of Kenya's gross domestic product, a 1.8 percentage increase from 2015, when it was at 51% of GDP. The position of Kenya as compared to the rest of the world has worsened in 2016 in terms of the GDP percentage. Following the heavy taxes levied on various products, it is ultimate that the common man will have to cough more taxes to meet the 3 trillion shillings budget. Gladys Mungai, Ebro TV, Parliament Buildings.